don't feel like it's ever what we see from the Unicorns of Love. We'll see maybe this time they want to play to those team fighting roots, or if they draft that split push strategy and focus on those side lanes. But already bans coming out quick. Zach, Elise, Oriana already off the table.
So obviously one of the things for Unicorns of Love is they don't really play Elise a whole lot at least, so they often have to remove it instead of maybe threaten it as a potential first pick. I think it is a good ban though, because again, you don't want to have this enemy jungler that can just gank so early and really start snowballing, most likely Jensen in the mid lane.
That's interesting because, you know, you might not want to use it as your first ban, even if you are going to ban it on blue side, and on the off chance that Cloud9 haven't, you know, researched that, or haven't gone that in depth, that would be a very common follow-up as far as red side bans there.
I think the Unicorns are just respecting C9's research. It is the most banned champion by the Unicorns of Love as well in the UOL. So it's kind of going on the page. The first thing you see is Elise ban all the time. Okay, they probably don't play. Let's see what happens though. C9 are banning away the very standard red side bans in Caitlyn and Zach, two of the absolute best champions in their role.
Also happens to be two champions that Unicorns of Love are very comfortable with, so doubling down on that power. Tristana now taken away from Cloud9, interesting enough, and that does leave open the first pick, Gragas, to come in either for Vizicsacsi or Cersei.
Yeah, NA team's been super happy about you know, flexing the Gragas, but instant lock-in here for Jensen's LeBlanc once again, and you would expect another jungler that will have early game.
I just right off the bat, guys, is this just going to be all about mid lane again? Is this every time we see the LeBlanc, is that all it's going to be?
C9 loves to play around mid, and now to get the best champion to play around.
Well, it's just that her gank setup is so ridiculously good. She has her own dash and her own crowd control pre, you know, level 6, so it is very easy. It is a very easy option. This time around, they're also drafting some split push here for Ray, which is something that they have done.
Have to remember, it is technically a flex pick. Sneaky could take it as well in the bottom lane. We have seen that a few times. I'm kind of surprised to see Kennen this early. Unicorns of Love, though, coming in with a plan saying, we know you're going to pick the LeBlanc. That's why they're leaving it open. They get the Kassadin, which is actually the one champion Exile managed to play super passive on in the ULCS and not fall behind early. And then he actually managed to get to like the mid-game stage where he could really start being a carry for his team.
And it was a good shade to see from him. Of course, now with the Thresh locked in as well for Hylissang, though, it looks like comfort across the board for the Unicorns of Love as C9 look at that last pick.
And while Kassadin is, you know, a decent answer into LeBlanc, and a lot of people kind of have that in the back pocket for a long time as this, you know, quote-unquote counter, it's still abusable early. And especially if you have an attack damage early game jungler. That was kind of the mouse over there from Cloud9. They don't end up locking it in, but they still have multiple options there. Could either be that Lee Sin, could be the Rek'Sai,
Kha'Zix,
or the Kha'Zix. Like, there are many opportunities here for them to still go with that mid pressure if they want to.
Yeah, there's always a big point in the pick and ban phase when you go into that second phase where if there's only two main picks left in your role, you often feel forced to pick one of them, otherwise both are going to get removed. But when Kobe just mentioned 3 different junglers right there that are all fine choices, well, Cloud9 says we can wait. We can obviously still get one of the best ones, even if Unicorns ban 2 junglers.
Interesting to see, too, now that Cloud9 are banning away 80 carries. Is this kind of maybe heralding Sneaky playing this Kennen already, or is it just trying to take away power picks from the hands of Samux?
Could be both there. You know, a bit of mind games. Sneaky also very willing to take that in the 80 carry role. And Cloud9 could kind of do that, divert attention, you know, sleight of hand here down to the bottom lane and actually just trying to do a little bit of a impression of Fnatic, maybe.
I mean, they could. Again, we've seen them do it before. Samux's champ pool is kind of interesting, this split. Like, it's Caitlyn Twitch is number 1 and 2, and then it's Xayah, and then 1 game of Kalista. Varus and Ashe used to be pretty big picks for Unicorns of Love in the spring split, but they haven't touched those champions, which is a bit of a shame because I actually still feel like they are 2 of the absolute best 80 carries, especially if you don't play around your bottom lane that much. So I would love to see one of those 2 come in from Samux to pack some more engage from that bottom side and some CC.
And Fisher, you bring that up, but with Exile struggling in the mid lane, it feels like Unicorns of Love have been all about putting that Twitch into the hands of Samux, these big late game scaling kind of hyper carry picks to make sure that they have one player to play around. This time though on the Kassadin, it could be different.
Yeah, and you already have now massive scaling in mid, which means if you also go Twitch, well then you most likely have multiple losing lanes in the early game against C9 with LeBlanc. Like, That doesn't sound like a good thing. We saw Fnatic try that yesterday.
Exactly. The key is, yes, Kassadin is very good at scaling, but the wave clear is always the issue that is brought up with this champion early on. And if Cloud9 do try and have one of those high-paced games, then that is definitely going to be an area that they can exploit. There's the Lee Sin that we kind of did expect, that attack damage, early ganking jungler. So Contracts, has those multiple options.
So once again, looking at Samax, and I think Varus would fit that comp extremely well to add that wave clear Kobe just mentioned as well. But it really depends what Samax feels comfortable playing at the moment. Gnar is something we've seen more and more locked in for the top lane.
Does also confirm the Gragas will be going into the jungle. Gnar into the hands of Vizicachi. One final pick for the 80 carry role on the side of Unicorns of Love. Ash Varus, maybe the predicted what would make round out this draft well. Can't trust that, folks, if you haven't watched the Unicorns of Love. Always hovers a couple different
Well, I do definitely agree with Deficio's earlier point about trying to get the wave clear from the 80 carry role so that they can do the classic swap bottom up there, but not going to be the case.
C9, they're going to take their time with this last pick, gentlemen, but I brought up Twitch. You doubted it, unfortunately.
No, we said we didn't want to see it.
All right, well, you're seeing it now. So talk to me.
0, Draco's 1. I'll keep score, boys.
Fine. So talk to me about what this means now, because we do have it locked in. You said there was some weakness in wave clear. What does this mean for the team overall?
I mean, it just means you have a comp that purely relies on scaling.
Forget it. It doesn't matter anymore. Riven time. Kobe,
oh
go.
My God, we have been waiting for Raze Riven for so long in North America because he plays it all the time in solo queue. He was rank 1 in North American solo queue, played a ton of this champion, and this is definitely, we talk about keeping options open. It does not have to be a mid lane camp, boys. This is very, very easily could snowball in his favor.
Yeah, you look at both solo laners for C9 and Contracts, like no matter where you go almost at this point, you're like, yes, I'm so happy I got a kill for that guy because he can now take over the game. We know in the Gnar matchups that when Gnar's in mini Gnar, he's so squishy, and champions with mobility can get onto him and actually all in him, especially after level 6.
And we saw that proven yesterday when Vizicachi took the Aurelia up against it and just leapt onto Haunter every single chance he got.
And the thing that Riven has here, even over Aurelia, is the interrupt on Gnar's hop. So many interrupts here from Riven. And the possibility of animation canceling it to get one of those definitely there. When Ray hits level 6, you really need to pay attention to this lane.
Remember, guys, it's the first time during the day. It's not about whether or not you love Unicorns of Love or Cloud9. It's about NA and EU. So head over to Twitter at LOL Esports, hashtag EU win, hashtag NA win. It's been a close and contested vote. We'll see if we find the same in this game. So you're ready for the first one of the day.
And I want to go back to that Twitch just before we saw the Riven. Because that's kind of the problem now for Europe that we saw yesterday, where it's a lot of scaling, and it's great when you get to like 2 or 3 items, everyone is happy, everyone is celebrating. But getting to that point has proven very difficult against some of these North American teams. And Unicorns, they're banking fully on the late game and just saying we can stop C9 from snowballing.
Gonna have to see if they can make it. Unicorns of Love, of course, on the blue side, C9 on the red. Riven ready to bring the dawn. The NA already happy to see it, and looks like Unicorns of Love maybe trying something special here in the level 1.
All right, see if they catch Contracts sleeping or not. Should be expecting it though. Gets a little sight there. Maybe it'll just be an invade. 5-man strong actually for this Raptor ward.
Well, if you are Unicorns of Love, you know that you have to try and follow Contracts early on, because level 3 Lee Sin, either top lane or mid lane, can be so impactful for C9.
Yeah. And while we all are super excited for the Riven pick, obviously, very rare and exciting, we do have to keep in mind, as Deficio said, the scaling on Unicorns. And they do have, if Cloud9 mess up in this early game, if they give over gold, and if they're not able to snowball, off this early game, then you have to keep that in mind, because the Kassadin, because of the Twitch, a lot of late game scaling there, as well as the Gnar even, actually.
And that's just always the thing, when you call out the risk in a draft, then you get cursed as a caster. Suddenly the enemy team feeds like 4 kills to the Twitch, and Twitch carries the whole thing, and you're just like, well, mean, I guess it worked, but C9.
Fight over the Raptors. Who will get them? 1 for C9?
They're getting a
unicorn. Now saying flash forward, exhaust on a smoothie. He's in trouble. This could very well be first blood.
Remember when I said that thing about Twitch thing getting random kills?
1-1 Deficio.
Yeah, that was a good prediction right there. Oh, they just paused.
I'm glad we slipped in that part about being cautious and giving over gold there to the scaling composition.
Well, I guess Twitch was a great pick after all.
All right,
Genius.
gentlemen.
Totally because of the Twitch pick that they got this kill.
There we go.
Still had a mile away.
They lost 3 Raptors, though.
Look at
so
the
worth
smiles
it.
on their faces. Okay, not that face.
Classic.
He's focused. He's focused.
Right. He's like, please don't take away our first blood.
It's actually Hillsang who paused the game, so we'll find out more context in a few moments.
He wants a real challenge. Start over.
Yes.
No first blood for Twitch.
Yeah.
All right, GG, guys, go next. We definitely win this one. Well, Unicorns of Love, they started off well. We talked about the late game scaling composition. The other thing we brought up in Champion Select was the focus around mid lane. But I feel like now with a Ken and Braum bottom lane and a Riven in the top lane for C9, it feels to me like contracts can just go anywhere.
Exactly. Like early game, I think it's easier for him to go around, mid lane with LeBlanc or maybe the Riven top. But after you hit level 6 on Kennen and you get his ulti, that's where we see Fnatic always play around the Kennen lane. Same can happen here from contracts. We know Jensen is running teleport on LeBlanc. Like that's kind of the thing Smoothie and C9 showed yesterday. And Smoothie talked about this in an interview with Kelsey Most as well. Like once you get an advantage with these roaming champions, playing the game just gets so easy because you can just go everywhere on the map with globals.
Yeah, it is interesting because especially for Cloud9's composition, I mean, I would, if they're able to have an opportunity, if an opportunity comes up in the bottom lane where they can use their teleports and get a counter and get some extra kills there, then I would say definitely go for it. But I don't think that would be the main game plan, especially for a Riven, right? Trying to keep her isolated, trying to keep her in the 1 versus 1 up on the top side, with a little bit of jungle pressure and get her off to the snowballing.
And I hate to interrupt, gentlemen, but we do have more context on the pause. Hillsang had experienced some lag issues. So League officials will be swapping out his computer before we resume the game. So just a few moments. We know what the issue is. Now working on a solution. So in the meantime, we can just keep our focus back on that draft.
Yeah, just remember, guys, at home, it doesn't work for you. If you lag, no one comes in and switches out your PC. It's only for the pro players on the big stage. But I think also...
I can't call up the Fishio.
You can call up
bud.
me. You can definitely call me up. And I won't really fly over and swap out your PC, though.
Okay. Just
Or
listen
will
to
I?
me cry.
Try. Try next time you lag at home.
The Deficio tech support. You know nothing about computers, Deficio.
I can probably swap out a PC pretty easily. Cables out, cables in.
All right, we'll see. Well, gentlemen, we do have a replay of First Blood waiting for us, so let's take a chance to look at it and walk me through
The level 1
the level.
mechanics
Okay,
here.
I
Let's take a
understand.
look.
They take the
I
Raptors.
wasn't mean let's talk about the thought process here for
Well,
C9.
the big thing here is that Unicorns of Love duo lane is sitting here protecting and waiting for this, and the immediate collapse is so easy for them.
So I was watching C9 versus TSM in week 5, and C9 were actually sitting in that brush looking for that Raptor play as well. They didn't actually go fully all in like we saw here against TSM, but one of the reasons also, a lot of teams like to do the leash on red buff, where you're trying to you do a few Raptors, you do all the small Raptors into a quick red buff, and then you go to top side and you try and gank the enemy top laner. And you can obviously do that against a Riven fairly easily. So having that dual lane sitting there from C9 is also to try and prevent the Gragas getting all the small Raptors and red buff into a quick level 3 after another camp. They also got 3 of the Raptors, so technically they succeeded in denying the experience early. They didn't obviously all in and didn't expect the Unicorns of Love bot lane to be there. I think that was a big surprise for them.
The risk reward may not have gone in Cloud9's favor this time, but you brought up a good point. Going for a slightly greedier jungle start means it is a little more vulnerable to that interruption from C9.
It is. We have actually seen a curious amount of mistakes around the Raptors early. Ever since the Raptor pit became so important as this, #1 jungle camp to start over, we've seen top laners go to try and stop Raptors and steal some away and get, tunnel vision basically takes over. They stick around for 1, they stick around for 2, and then they get collapsed upon by the enemy, who's going to have bigger numbers simply because they're on the enemy jungle side and you're not bringing your jungler. So it's actually quite curious that we see this so often. And teams continue to get collapsed upon.
Also just because in this invade, not a single ward was actually placed by C9 beforehand. So normally if you want to make these kind of moves where you're denying camps, you have like 1 or 2 wards there just to see, is anyone around, but not in this case.
Well, we're going to have to see what comes next as we are now getting back into game. Hillsang needed a moment to adjust his settings, but now we're off. It'll be interesting to see exactly what now the options are that come in. Of course, contracts not interrupted.
Just in case you forgot.
If you're just joining us, Smoothie died. Other than that, you haven't missed much. Contract's going for an aggressive invade, though.
So obviously, with him dying, not great, but at the same time, they actually did slow down this start from Unicorns of Love's jungler. You can see that Gragas didn't get all the Raptors.
I like it.
You know, now he finally got his red buff.
Goggles on.
What is
There we go.
C9 Deficio?
It is unbiased Deficio, which is my goal for Rift Rivals. Took me 5 minutes yesterday to break that, but Ray's going nuts.
Yeah, the other thing, though, you do kind of touch on a good point here, Deficio.
Thank you.
Quite rare for you. Honestly, though, Contract's going in to steal this blue quadrant of the jungle. This is something as a jungler, when you have a top lane that you do want to isolate and you do want to, get snowballing and try and take advantage of a 1 versus 1, you take out the jungle camps on that side of the map. So if Xerxes actually wanted to spend his time ganking top lane, he would have to give up so many camps. It's so much efficiency. By counter jungling and basically trading sides of the jungle, you eliminate that
mid, Kobe. They might dive here.
Not about the top lane right now, but the mid lane. Contracts goes in, gets a bit aggressive, throws it in, flash forward, first blood, 30 minutes in. Exile already going to drop second
look at
blood,
the river, because there's a possibility that maybe Xerxes can get a flash or something. Okay, we're reaching a little bit here.
He got one. Don't worry, he got one.
That's respect.
As I said,
This whole setup, though, is so smart, actually, from C9, because after Contract steals the topside jungle, they had a ward already placed on their own blue buff. So they saw Xerxes, went in there to take that blue buff. So they know there's no one defending Castle in the mid lane, and that's why Contracts can go for this early dive.
Exactly, and again, this is made possible because of the LeBlanc pushing in. We talked about Kassadin can still be exploited early on in this matchup, and he does just that. So Cloud9, again, off to that mid-lane start here for Jensen, and Contract's gonna stick to the game plan here, use some extra wards around mid lane to continue the pressure.
I like Jensen getting early control ward, put a bit more pressure there. No flash from Exile, which of course is the Kassadin Nightmare pre-level 6, and you can't really do a whole lot as Exile here. I think maybe if you flash the Lee Sin Q, he can't obviously then follow up and get even extra damage onto you, but he was kind of stuck on the tower at the same time, and it was a very, very short travel time. So really tough spot to be in when your jungler is obviously not nearby.
And yesterday we saw two completely different forms of Cloud9. The LeBlanc playing around the mid game, powerhouse in the early game Cloud9, and kind of the scale for late Cloud9. It looks like the second one is showing up today, gentlemen.
Definitely true. As we said, a lot of that did have to do with the team compositions that they drafted in those 2 games as well. Pushing lanes, allowing Contracts to make early moves. Maybe Smoothie dying wasn't part of the plan, but in the end, they are able to kind of right the ship and actually turn that gold lead back around for themselves because of the large CS that is currently in Cloud9's favor. There are a lot of extra minions, though, for Unicorns to pick up.
And obviously, if Jensen ends up going, 10-0 on LeBlanc, a bit like yesterday, everyone will be saying, why would you not just ban LeBlanc? Why would you ban Orianna instead of it? The reason Unicorns did it here was for that Kassadin counter pick, the game plan. You can then argue if that's a good one or not. Bot lane, Hylissang taking some damage.
2 stacks, 4 stacks, cuts of blows. Moving forward, Hylissang going to do his best. CC now coming back as Samix tries to throw down the autos, but the Twitch just doesn't have the damage to trade effectively.
You have to remember the first blood from Twitch happened pretty late before minion spawn, so he got the kill here to walk straight to bot lane, so he didn't actually go back and gain any sort of advantage from it, other than maybe a slight experience lead, and that's it. So right now, he's not really using that early gold to try and win the lane a bit harder. So Sneaky is doing more than fine bot lane.
And we look at it now, you can see Sneaky, actually pretty incredible Kennen player himself. Hard to compare him to Reckless, admittedly, as a European caster, but has had some impressive numbers and is dominating that lane.
I like the adaptation here already from Unicorns. They call over Xerxes to the mid lane so early to help out with the push for Exile, because they need to get Kassadin at least to the level 6. Otherwise, Jensen will continue to zone him out in that lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Smoothie goes in for another trade.
Oh, Exile.
Nowhere to go, no options left. Just gonna let the Sonic Wave connect.
With Jensen there, are you kidding me?
So what happened right there was as soon as we panned the camera away, Exile actually decided to walk up and place a ward across the little wall there near the mid lane. You can see the blue ward just on the Contracts on the minimap. Completely unnecessary, because you're about to push out anyway and then go back.
Yeah, completely unnecessary, and they have vision of both Cloud9
They saw him go down to the bottom lane.
Okay, I came into today feeling bad for this guy, right? Because he's probably going to get a lot of flame, but man, this is super rough. All right, so as we said, they call over the jungle to help push up the lane. They don't actually fully push it out, and then, as you said, he's over there in the middle of the lane. Nice collapse from C9. And that's going to be another facepalm.
So going back to Champ Select, as we said, you know, the Kassadin, okay, we get it, counter pick, it's risky. You need some early game elsewhere. Then the Twitch come in, okay, it makes it harder as well.
Level 6 Ray.
Have to hold on to that thought, Fisher, because it looks like we're going to have the 2v2 on the top side. Ray moving forward, just looking to find the execute. Where is he going to throw it out? Looking for one. Xerxes still running, waiting on that Sonic Wave.
He is flash.
There's the kick, doesn't even need it. Leap forward, gets the auto, contracts on a roll.
Luckily for Vizicachi, he was able to flash out of the ultimate there from Ray, and at least he survives. But again, that Cloud9 duo does claim single kill for themselves.
And it's looking a lot like the game yesterday, C9 versus Fnatic, where these lanes here are suddenly getting early advantages. You got an assist for Riven, you got a kill and assist for LeBlanc, and obviously Contract's doing really well on Lee Sin. And as we talked about earlier, no reason to really go bot lane before this Kennen has even hit level 6, or maybe not even a reason to go bot lane now, because your solo laners are already winning. Just keep snowballing them.
And it's not like you're scared of the Twitch. Level 5, no items under his belt. He's waiting for at least an Infinity Edge before he can solo carry some team fights, and that's well far away.
All right, just as we set up there, Riven taking advantage of the mini form here on Gnar. That level 6, he has the burst, goes in for the flash, he gets the knockup for the interrupt, but the ultimate was going backwards there, and Vizicachi able to flash out.
I think what we're seeing here at Rift Rivals is a really good thing about the Gnar buffs, because it makes people now confident they can blind pick Gnar, and it actually opens up so many different top lane matchups. We saw Aurelia yesterday, we're seeing Riven right now, just because like Gnar, he's kind of the jack of all trades, but the master of none. He doesn't really destroy any lanes in the early game. You can actually pick a lot of melee champions that can farm okay against him, and then just look for all-ins.
He becomes the master of trades when he gets a frozen mallet and he has a range versus melee matchup later in the game.
Later.
With Black Cleaver. And
so if he started with that, just started with that item.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key.
Should we make a list, Officio, of champions that would be really good if they could start with Black Cleaver?
And Frozen Mallet.
I think most champions, even champions who won't normally get it, if they can just start with that item.
All right, I bet Exile was wishing he could start with any extra items there in the mid lane. He continues to get bullied by Jensen. Roam here up to the top side, though.
Throw back, Chain CC comes in. He's going to get locked up. No chance for the Riven to shield up. That's going to be difficult, but Exile now trying to run out. Contracts caught under tower. That's bad news, but Smoothie, he's straight one back. Now he's in the Unbreakable. Backing out, but that's going to be the end of the play.
Yeah, Jensen should be able to get him out, but they got a counter kill. That is huge for Unicorns, moving that top side. They're also going to get first turret gold.
Such a good lane swap here from Unicorns of Love. We were kind of waiting for Samuks to go back to base, spend some of that gold, and instantly just walks to top lane with Hylissang, surprising Ray here. And so that's going to be tower for Unicorns. Kills in the mid lane as well. 2 kills now on this Twitch.
Really, really smart by Unicorns, as you said. Staying proactive, not sitting back and, you know, letting these losing lanes get out of control. Swapping very early to get this trade, and C9 actually not even able to get the other half of that trade, so no turret gold coming in yet.
Yeah, it's actually insane how massive that play was for the Unicorns of Love, because they were losing these solo lanes here. They couldn't stop the Lee Sin, and now they even out the gold by also getting that tower. Exile is very early down in a side lane. He's waiting for Hylissang to come and help him as well.
And rough for Exile. Now he has to back off, but he's reasonably safe. Now that he's past that level 6 point, now that he doesn't have to go toe-to-toe with the LeBlanc, Unicorns have taken him out of that mid lane, and it looks like it will be easier for him to survive.
I also want to highlight the kind of other play that was going on during that one, where Xerxes did go to Exile's lane, and they're kind of using this super weak Kassadin as, well, we know he's going to probably die, or they're going to dive him, but at least we have someone around to get this counter kill. See, Xerxes in the mid lane, he's waiting around for this dive. He gets the interrupt, and he gets the counter kill on Contracts. Even though Smoothie is there, you know, once again, for the 3-man gank on mid lane, and it's all about Unicorns turning that into a 1-for-1 trade where, you know, Kassadin going down, not as big of a deal.
All right, now Exile is trying to do everything he can to stay in the game, you know, maxing out his item build with very cheap items coming in, double Dark Shield for extra regen with his Corruption Potion, Catalyst completed, so not a lot of damage on him, but he's just trying to stay in lane, just trying to stay somewhat healthy, so he doesn't just get killed 1v1 by Jensen. Xerxes bottom lane right now, so is Jensen. A lot of players looking for a potential fight.
And Exile may be trying to stay in lane, but Jensen has no problem just walking away, now walking right back. Lay down a bit of damage, triple chain coming in. Exile just taking the bad end of that trade, but really no options up against LeBlanc, who's already 1 kill in. And C9, they're just going to take that courtesy Cloud break.
As soon as we went back to the standard lane, C9 pushed in mid, pushed in bot lane. That opened up for a very easy Drake. Unicorns of Love got all the gold through just that lane swap, not standard laning.
Yeah, definitely big for them. For Cloud9, though, with their composition, let's set up the transition that they want to get next in this game. And that will be, hey, Jensen is about to finish his Gunblade. They can actually put LeBlanc in a side lane. He has teleport, and with this massive gold lead, he'll be, difficult to answer because the Kassadin still does take a bit more time to scale up. And they want to create those multiple points.
Top lane right now, and bot lane fighting as well.
Hook goes in. Out's going to come the ultimate from Samix, but immediately the exhaust in response. Sneaky doing what he can to dish damage onto Hylissang, but no kill going to drop on either side.
And we also saw top lane right there. Contracts went in on Vizicachi.
Moving forward.
Playing it safe. Xerxes would have a lot of burst damage actually against the half HP Lee Sin. Everyone from C9 backs away. Bot lane as well. No one actually died. But all C9 wants bot lane is that tower. It's fairly low, and we see Sneaky constantly pushing it in.
And we know the Twitch doesn't really have any wave clear options here to clear this one out. Radzatat, or rather Spray and Pray, already used. Could be in trouble. Looks like it will just get taken down, trying to get as much damage on a Sneaky as possible. But luckily the Venom Cask help him clear out, or at least dissuade any further aggression. Smoothly! That's a rough one. Definitely did not want to burn heal. Miscalculation there from the Cloud9 support.
I want to take a step back to your point as well, Kobe. Just as I say, Sneaky almost went for a fight here, but about, playing with LeBlanc in the side lane. Fnatic likes to keep LeBlanc in the mid lane because she can push the lane so quickly and then roam and then have Sneaky split pusher. But we see a bot lane fight.
Sees the Lee Sin coming, uses him as an escape path, but Hylissang may still be in trouble because he gets kicked out. He gets knocked down, and Contracts just on an absolute tear.
Chachi using that TP as well down bottom lane, trying to help, but just a little bit too late. Honestly, impossible for him to do anything because Hylissang died so quickly. And that's a kill and TP advantage now for C9. They are still in a very good spot despite losing that first tower.
When we look at this one again, you can see Hylissang doing what he can to escape, but really just too far forward, caught out yet again. Not just an issue that's been plaguing Exile across this tournament, but also Hylissang as well. And sadly, Vizicachi shows up. There's nothing left for him to do.
Plus, always feels nice as Lee Sin when you get to create your own escape path there, knocking Hylissang up the lane and using the second Q. So nobody was left around for the teleport when Vizicachi came in, and that does give teleport one teleport advantage over to Cloud9, even though there are 4 to keep track of in this game.
Definitely an immense amount of potential global pressure. Hylissang continuing to roam around, plays down a bit of vision, has left the bottom lane, and we've swapped now Vizicachi to the bottom side, left alone to hold that tower, but Cloud9 not too concerned.
No, and at this point, Sneaky's sitting on 2,400 gold. He just wants enough to go back and get the fully completed blade. And then, as we talked about before here, like if you are C9, you actually have like 3 split pushers. Technically, your AD carry, your mid lane, and your top lane, they all want to sit in side lanes to split push. There's only 2 side lanes, sadly for them, so they need one guy in the mid lane. And if they want the wave clear, it's LeBlanc. If they want to move their strongest member to the side lane, well, then they have to put Sneaky mid lane, and he's kind of to sit there and hold down the fort for as long as possible.
All right, well, the first turret does fall, so that game plan starts to come a little bit closer. Ray has to flash the hook.
Not going to find the engage opportunity. Exile continues to be under pressure. Luckily, the mobility is keeping him safe for now. Not finding any greater advantages here. Both teams poking at each other, looking for openings, looking for opportunities to find those kills, but nothing coming up yet.
Kind of just waiting right now for C9 to try and either set up the split push or Unicorns trying to look for that all-in engage. Very mobile LeBlanc in the mid lane. She's hard to catch, also with the flash available. And now with that bot lane tower down, obviously C9 doesn't need to keep Sneaky sitting in that lane, and they can actually start moving people around the map. And it's should at that point where it gets really, really hard for Unicorns to defend because every single lane is just getting pushed.
Yeah.
But they do have hard engage on Xerxes they can use.
That's the key, though. Right? Currently, they had Kennen and LeBlanc both in the mid lane. That's the only option that you don't want.
Yeah, that's a no-no.
At least send one of them over to side lane. Now it's Sneaky who's going to head up to the top side. Jensen says mid lane is still mine. Here come Unicorns, though. They want to make it theirs.
Trying to push in, have the cannon wave as well. Xerxes not going to get interrupted on the channel. That means the Herald's going to show up. This will be a tower for Unicorns of Love.
And I think that Cloud9 should stick to the split. They don't want to answer 5v5 at the moment. Gnar definitely brings a lot of AoE to the team fight, and they're actually just going to keep Kennen and Riven split pushing on the side lanes, give up that mid lane to the Rift Herald, and take him down before he can get 2.
And with a full wave on the top side, it very well may be the 1-for-1 tower trade, but Contracts, he's looking for the 1-for-1. Exile, that's going to be the mistake he can't afford to make. Ooh, just barely enough range on the Riftwatch to take him to safety, but in the end, it is the 1-for-1 tower trade, and now maybe a bit more of a fight as Hylissang wants to get this one started. TP comes in on the backside. Smoothie, he's going to knock up 2, but the fight has stalled at least for a moment. Samek's running for his life, but that is not what you want to face. Jensen's LeBlanc, the heal, going to keep him alive. Hylissang going to flash to safety, but C9 taking advantage.
Everyone's staying alive from the Unicorns of Love, but losing so many summoners. Chachi's looking for that bot lane tower. Ray with TP in case he wants to go back and defend it.
Yeah, that was actually a tremendous amount of flashes blown there, with Samek's both of his summoner spells expended in the trade, but nobody commits to that mid turret either for Cloud9, so they'll probably get back and just defend instead.
I think C9 were just happy to take a fight where, yes, you didn't get any kills, but you got these summoner spells. That now means the next few minutes, your pick composition with the insane amount of mobility should be able to get a kill when you catch just one guy.
Yeah, the one thing that I would say though, they got the Twitch flash from Samek's out earlier, and Jensen decided to flash in to try and get the kill on top of it. You know, maybe LeBlanc flash for heal on top of the flash there. Starts to get into debatable territory, but being able to judge how much damage Jensen is going to do in his combo to Samek's is definitely important for the next time.
And obviously also Jensen saying, you know what, I do have my distortion in case I need to find that Twitch once again. And I think if you're C9, like, you're kind of looking at just Samek's right now as the man you need to kill in the next few fights, because Kassadin is still not really at the point where he's too scary and too hard to deal with. It really is that Twitch that opens up with ulti, especially once you get rank 2, which is in just a few minutes for Samek's, and then he's the man you're looking for in the fights.
Have to be careful, have to respect the Twitch. We've seen so many teams in the ULCS fall prey to this champion, when left forgotten in the back lines of a team fight when he gets to reappear and dish out so much damage. But Cloud9, we talked about it earlier, they're playing against the clock of Unicorns of Love to a certain degree. They're all about the early game, and eventually the Twitch and the Kassadin do feel like these picks that are going to become unstoppable.
So I want to see what Sneaky is able to do on Kennen right now. It is a little bit harder for him to just blindly push his lane out, simply because there's no like Shen ulti or Galio ulti to assist him in a quick 1v1 against something like a Kassadin. That's also why Sneaky's kind of respecting Exile a little bit, but he can still try and one-on-one him.
Yeah, got to chase him down a bit here. Use the blade active.
Leaping forward, stun does drop. Half health for Exile. Smoothie on the way.
A lot more than Smoothie are on the way, though. Unicorns of Love are sending 4 members up to the top side.
Hylissang moving forward, going to launch the play backward, but Xerxes not even worried about the support. He's hunting for the 80 carry. Smoothie already set to die. Exile going to grab that kill. Suddenly, it's the flash out from Sneaky, the leap forward from Vizicachi, the wallop, the stun, the Gnar back, and now Sneaky's in no man's land. He's going to get dropped.
So once again, they kind of use their weak Kassadin here as a little bit of bait, and Unicorns go prey on Cloud9, trying to overextend and kill Exile. Meanwhile, Cloud9 will get the push on the mid lane to get some turret pressure here, but some kills over to Unicorns. They're very happy about those.
Yeah, everyone just going straight to that top lane looking for the fight. It's what we see from the Unicorns in Europe so often. Whenever someone is about to get caught, the entire team reacts very quickly. They're going straight for Baron in 20 minutes.
Baron on the table. Exile gets his first kill of the tournament, and that means it's so risky to go. Unicorns of Love, not afraid here, but have to respect the LeBlanc, the ribbon. They go over the wall. Contracts is taken down, but Samek's is alone in the pit. Suddenly, the team is there to back him up. Lantern brings the team in. 3K getting lower. Twitch max expunge stacks. Who can stop the Baron on the side of Cloud9? There's low health bars. Can they get it moving in from right the exhaust? It goes down. Baron in the favor of C9, but the fight is breaking out, and suddenly it's disaster for the American team.
Unicorns, man. Kobe, are you seeing this?
That's huge for the Unicorns. Cloud9 are still trying to stop backs, though. It's not over.
Chachi just going to Goomba stomp his way over. Jensen trying to find a way out. Sneaky in trouble. The Kennen dishing out what damage he can. The concussive blow not going to complete, and Unicorns Love pulling into the lead.
The scaling comp that was behind, it was looking so bad for Unicorns. They first have that lane swap where they get some gold. Then suddenly now you get a fight in the top lane against Sneaky and Smoothie. 2 kills into a 20-minute Baron start. The catch on the contracts here is fantastic, but they're still sitting there behind the Baron in the pit, taking so much damage with so many guys from C9 just outside. The fact they get Ray down without Jensen being able to kind of join. C9 here didn't really coordinate their engage. Jensen now jumps in after the rest of the team is already engaged, and C9 just not able to get more than one guy down.
Yeah, Unicorns were a bit too healthy after taking down both Sneaky and Smoothie there, so they were able to tank up Baron without too much threat. And the exhaust also used to just ensure that there's no extra burst coming through to kill those members off inside the pit. Definitely huge for Unicorns of Love. With this Baron buff, we're going to have to watch that Baron power play.
And not just that, but the items coming in. The Frozen Mouth, the Black Cleaver you talked about earlier, Kobe, Rod of Ages, almost a Lich Bane for Exile. 2 items completed for the Twitch. Suddenly, the scaling comp is online.
Yeah, Kassadin hit level 13 right now as well, so despite him dying 3 times early, well, at this point, it doesn't really matter for him because he's going to be strong. So Unicorns of Love, they didn't manage to do this yesterday. They couldn't get back from these disadvantages in the early game. But with this massive play around Baron and the lane swap earlier, they've made 2 great plays that have actually resulted in them now being just slightly ahead of C9 in terms of the comp. But they're looking for a kill mid.
Forward Sneaky in trouble, just gets deleted. Unicorns now moving down the mid lane. Cloud9 are going to have to back off here. No hope to hold on to this tower. Jensen a little aggressive forward. That's the hook on the Ray. The fight, they just want to keep going, but Unicorns of Love, they need to back off. No one gonna get hit by that ultimate. They're knocked back into the fight. Xerxes with a clutch cask, and now Vizichachi may be a bit too far forward, but Unicorns of Love unconcerned.
23 minutes into the game, Unicorns are going to be able to take down an inhibitor turret, probably the inhibitor as well with this Baron buff, absolutely smashing now.
Moving for more. Hylissang throwing out hooks left and right. When they connect, they are death sentences indeed. And Cloud9, they started so strong, but Unicorns of Love, they find that opportunity.
2 times, Cloud9 try and kill Exile in the mid game there. 2 times.
You're gonna sit there fishing with him, Master Bait. Come on, C9.
You don't understand, guys. Day 1, it was all a bait. Oh, moving forward. Sneaking now in trouble, but Unicorns of Love gonna have to get a little bit more respect because Jensen not deterred. The heal comes in to try to keep Vizichachi healthy. Now Samek's on a killing spree, getting hit up by the tower. The knock comes in. Smoothie gonna drop as well, and now another tower in their sights.
And now everything is just in favor of the Unicorns of Love. So quickly did the game just change. Now all these late game carries, they're getting items. They have the Baron buff still. They're pushing for a second inhib at 23 minutes.
And might I say, I am very glad to see that Xerxes, did go the Cinderhulk Gragas route. Super
That's why they're winning.
Super tanky front line. I just want to divert the attention here. Super tanky front line with the rush on the Righteous Glory. The engage was so easy there with that huge speed and the flash that comes from Gragas here. Righteous Glory is used. Sneaky, there's no chance. Doesn't even see it come in. Zooms in there and able to get the engagement. Then Hylissang comes up with another pick here. He gets Flay and the hook in the opposite direction. Ray does not see it coming. Able to start this one off. Then once again, Gragas ultimate here. And Xerxes, this guy, one of the young talents here in Europe, really, really impressive.
And we've just seen Gragas as well be such a power pick in the pick and ban phase. Like, we've seen it first rotation almost every time on red side. This was first picked by the Unicorns of Love.
It was first picked by a lot of the North American teams too, but I was so surprised, day 1 on this patch where the North American teams were still building Runic Echoes rather than Cinderhulk to get super tanky very early, and you get this continued bonus health, extra additive value there from the item. Regardless, though, front line strong, back line strong, everything's strong for Unicorns. They have 2 inhibitors down, 25 minutes into the game, so this should be pretty easy, full steam ahead, straight up the bottom lane.
6K Baron power play says it all, Kobe. Now looking for a little bit more. Hook does go down on a Smoothie, but Unicorns of Love holding off on pulling the trigger for now, waiting for C9 to overextend. Hook goes in just over and over again for Hylissang, and pressure coming in. Not a lot of options left for C9, gentlemen. Let's be honest.
Yep. At this point, C9, if they're just even close to Xerxes, they might get instantly engaged on. Exile as well can constantly jump on them. And Hylissang's just been fishing with the hooks, landing quite a few here to set up more kills for them. That one slightly missing contracts, but it's fine. You got some CDR, you can just go for more.
You just cannot afford to approach the Mega Gnar whatsoever. On top of that, the Thresh, so many engage options for the Unicorns of Love. They made it past that weak early game. Even with Cloud9 finding advantages, finding kills. Simply not enough, and now it's Contracts caught out yet again. They're running forward, they're taking their time, they're gonna take him down. Unicorns of Love walking it down the mid lane. This is the last hold, the last bastion for Cloud9. Let's see what they can do here. Samek stealth up, Jensen leaping forward, luckily saved out, but Exile just playing so aggressive. Towers dropping left and right.
And with that, Unicorns and Europe waste no time in striking back. Here goes Cloud9, though.
Ray leaping forward, the last dance. Can they make it happen? Ray trying to get as much damage as possible, but he's not going to get a single member of the Unicorns of Love. Vizicachi leaping in. They want a few extra kills. They want to savor the moment, Kobe, because it may have been an 0-2 start yesterday, but Unicorns of Love are not going to let it be 0-3 as they find their first win.
What a quick game all of a sudden. It was like, hey, man, that's a lot of scaling on your side. Unicorns love that.